called the Mall with a Heart.
You've eaten lots of great food and not so great food at restaurants. Cowboy Burgers in Fontana and now in Arlington and Riverside will fast become one of your favorites with their delicious, mouth-watering burgers and breakfast burritos. Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue also serves fantastic smoked barbecue baby back ribs, tri-tip, chicken, pulled pork sandwiches, as well as lunch and dinner plates. Everything is made from scratch, including their delicious side dishes like coleslaw, potato salad, barbecue beans, and much, much more. Check out their rich, decadent chocolate brownies.
Hi, I'm food critic Alan Borgen, and you can dine in, take food out, or have them cater your next special event. I highly recommend Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue at their new location at 5573 Arlington Avenue in Riverside. Just look them up on the internet. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue. Happy eating!
And perfect for the holidays, Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue is also available for catering. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue in Fontana and now in Riverside on Arlington.
The message of Brother Stair lives on here in Southern California on KCAA, Monday through Friday from 1 to 5 a.m. Hear the worldwide broadcast of the Overcomer Ministry from the Faith Cathedral Fellowship. Call for prayer requests or to make a donation at area 843-599-1215, beginning at 1 a.m. Monday through Friday. Hear it here on KCAA, AM and FM.
Tehibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau de Arco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TehiboTeaClub.com. Tehibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TehiboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TehiboTeaClub.com.
This segment is sponsored by Pressprint, Southern California's best full-service union printer and mail house. They offer the lowest prices around with unmatched service and reliability and free delivery throughout SoCal. Pressprint can print anything from letterhead, business cards, and campaign literature to mailers of any size, lawn signs, banners, door hangers, or just about anything you might want. Pressprint promises to save money for you, your business, or your campaign. If you'd like to learn more, contact Mike Krumbrand at Pressprint 714-399-8708. Get the union bug.
You lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.SheilaMac.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio.
All right, and this is Tom Rose. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, and the first question I like to ask guests is, if you have a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation, can you share about that and how you got back on track?
Yeah, I mean, I think I look back to probably when I was in my kind of university days. and certainly wasn't a confident person. Maybe had a few kind of confidence knocks along the way. And yeah, I think for me, I really kind of had some kind of self-reflection on myself, and knew that perhaps if I was to do things differently, then perhaps this could help me go back onto track. So I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to start thinking about like living outside my comfort zone, challenging myself to become a different person and learning, so then hopefully I could rebuild some of that confidence.
Yes, I love it. I love your show and all you're doing with getting out of your comfort zone. So when did that start for you? When was your first experience?
Yeah, so I think I've always really liked the quote from Neil Donald Walsh, which is "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." Mm-hmm. And then back in 2014, it came to the point where Christmas had just been, and looking for a New Year's resolution. As I say, I had that sort of period of wanting us to build some more confidence. So I thought I'd put to the test that does life begin at the end of your comfort zone. So for 2015, I spent every week of the year for 52 weeks of the year doing a challenge outside my comfort zone to really test that, rather than doing a New Year's resolution and maybe failing by the end of January. So yeah, I really wanted to quantify it and make sure that I could commit to the whole year.
That's wonderful. So what was your first experience that you challenged yourself to do?
Yeah, so yeah, funny story really, because so week one was to give blood, which was, you know, like I thought I'd start with a really like noble cause, and quite funnily, having done it, I ended up on the floor looking up at the ceiling, having regained consciousness. So it was a funny start to life beginning outside your comfort zone. At that point, I was thinking, what have I got myself into here? So yeah, it was a funny way to start.
And what was the one experience maybe you can remember that was really something you were afraid to do up until the second you did it?
I'll be honest, there are lots of those, but the one that sticks out in my mind was doing stand-up comedy. As I say, so not as a kind of confident person, or definitely not as a confident public speaker. To then add on that element of making a crowd trying to make a crowd laugh. I think I remember really like vividly pacing up and down, sweating. So yeah, I mean that one for me still to this day, I think stands out as probably the most outside my comfort zone and the hardest thing I ever did. But at the same time, once I did it, and it went fairly well, and got a few laughs, and wasn't half as bad as I thought it was going to be. And yeah, that feeling of achieving something was, also sticks with me, and I'm very proud of it.
Yes. Well, I remember I actually joined the Tony Robbins tour and group back in 2011, and he's always giving us challenges to step out of your comfort zone. That's one of his things, as well as Neil's. And so with that, I was afraid. First, I was afraid to fly because I was in 2 plane accidents. So I traveled to this one event in Florida from California, and I said, if I'm able to do this flight after Tony talked with me a little bit, I can fly anywhere in the world. And I was. And so I traveled full time for 7 years straight after that. So it was really that one stepping out of my comfort zone, and then many more for me. I was getting away with not walking on the fire. I would go to the UPW, the events, and we had this walk on fire. And I still was getting out of that. I'd dance with everybody on one side, and I'd be like, hey, all right, great. And then I'd go to the other side like, yeah, that was fun. And I never did it. And then I got caught, because people start to know you when you're traveling with the group after a while. And they were like, you didn't walk on the fire. What's going on? And so I remember the first fire, and I celebrated with the crew and finally did it. And it was after, I think, probably 10 UPWs before I finally did the walk on fire, and it was super easy. And I got into state, and I did it. And each time I was able to do something else. And then it got to the point where I had done so much, I thought, I think I'm so far out of my comfort zone, I don't even remember who I was. This is incredible. And then one day, a friend of mine said, hey, we're working with this program, and you win a prize. You can go up to the space with, I guess, SpaceX or whatever it is. Okay. And, and I was like, no, I think we found my new comfort zone.
Yeah, that's too far out.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much. So it was like a definite not yet. So there's always something different and further out. What has your experience been over this time as far as personal growth? What have you discovered? How have you changed through the challenge?
Yeah, I mean, loads, if I'm honest. So I think for me, it's been a real journey of learning about yourself, learning about, you know, what you don't like. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway was is overcoming that initial fear. And I have a bit of a theory myself around that the thing that almost stops people from stepping outside their comfort zone is initially fear, and it's maybe more kind of fear of failure or fear of looking silly. And, you know, I definitely have that as well. And then, but what I've really learned is once you step that little bit further outside that fear zone, then there's this whole world of opportunity and learning and developing. That's where the exciting stuff happens. So I think, you know, the major thing I've kind of learned is to embrace that element of fear, and it's natural. We all get it. It's a human trait. So it's, you know, once you just move that little bit further and just go through that initial fear period, that's when there's this whole amazing world of you know, opportunity and yeah, just personal development and learning about yourself. So yeah, I mean, that's been the biggest takeaway for me.
Yes, and you know, for parents listening in, I have 6 children. I adopted 3 of my own, so I have this big family. And when they were teens, the youngest 2 did travel with me for a few years. And with that, all of my kids, as they saw me modeling, not telling them, you know, you should, but actually me stepping out of my comfort zone helped them to be braver, bolder, step out of their own comfort zones. Because they're like, oh, if mom can like climb a pole and jump off and fly and take flying lessons and all these crazy things, I can do this. And it totally changed their level of fear and willingness to step out of their own comfort zone. So it really helps for families. Just modeling this behavior will help your children, even if they're really young or they're adult children now. It doesn't matter. You don't have to tell them anything. Do.
Yeah, I mean, I always say to people, I was the person. I was that person that, you know, would never have done these things. Like seeing other people do it is inspirational, and like my mum, I was the same with my mum. I saw her run marathons, all that kind of stuff, and I was like, you know what, I can do it. My mum can do it. So having that kind of inspirational view on things is important, and I think the thing I would stress is, you know, we can all do it. We can all do these things. It's just taking that initial step.
Yes. Now, what do you have, like a following where people are also stepping out of their comfort zone now and sharing, or how does that work with what you're doing?
Yeah, so I think I think for me it was having gone on a journey myself in 2015. I've turned 30 this year, so I kind of set myself a few new challenges. But for me, I really want to help others go on their journey of stepping outside their comfort zone. So for me, we're calling it the comfort zone movement. And you know, this is trying to get everyone to move outside their comfort zone. So whether that be through inspiration, running a podcast myself, which is you're getting on guests and telling their stories, and that could be anything from running their own business to doing an extreme challenge. The movement's all about you know, trying to get everyone on this journey together and hopefully feel the benefits of life beginning outside of the comfort zone.
Yes, that's great. That makes such a difference for people. And it's starting slow with slow challenges. Now, for me, I'm I'm like probably the opposite of you. So I could get on any stage and talk. But it was funny. It took me about a year to start doing the, podcast, radio show, TV show. It took me a year because I was like, well, let me just wait until I'm perfect. Let me, and it was all this silly stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. I have a message that I want to share, and other people's messages, people I interview, that I want those messages to get out. And I put the helping other people ahead of, I guess, my ego or vanity, or I don't know, whatever was going on in my silly head. And once I started, it was easy. And then I was like, okay, great. I do 12 shows a week, no problem. So it took that first step. And it's like, what is the worst thing that could happen? It's okay. We're always improving something in our life, but why not start now? And then other things, all the improvements show up outside of the comfort zone anyway.
Yeah. And that it is that first step, isn't it? And, you've just really summed it up quite nicely there. Like, how many times can you think of something when you were really worried, or, whether it's work or in your personal life, and then you do it, and it was like, oh, that was fine. Yeah, what was I so worried about? So, I think it's, like I say, it's natural. We all humans get it. It means you care, but it's just knowing that is part of the process, and it's fine. Mm-hmm. But it can help you, it can help you actually, improve your performance and things like that. So,
yes. Now, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self before you started this movement, really, what advice would you give your younger self?
I'd make the same mistakes quicker.
That's good.
I think obviously, every part of your life is a journey to where you are today. Mm-hmm. So, not necessarily wanted to change the course of what I've been on, but I think, just knowing that you're learning from those mistakes and being okay with that, accepting it, and knowing that that's where you're going to learn and become a better person at the end of it.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The reality is every person I've ever met, mentor, famous person, whatever you want to call them, these people that are doing incredibly well on the planet, they have all had lots of learnings and failures. They had, this business didn't work out, or that thing happened, but they just kept moving forward and learning from it, reevaluate, and move on. They didn't let them stop. They didn't let the situation stop them. That learning, that mistake, quote unquote, is really a gift. So I know I've made just about every mistake possible at this point in my life, and there's new ones, I'm sure. But it's you just keep learning, and then over time it changes. Like, you're able to pick yourself up, like my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps: The Formula to Go from Rock Bottom Back into Action. They have the saying, pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Get back on track. Something bad happened, like COVID happened this last almost a year and a half now. And so, yes, we have to just get back up, dust ourselves off, and keep going. And the more we practice doing that, the faster we're back on track.
I can agree more. I think, like you say, the mistakes are lessons, and they're a part of the journey. They're not something to overanalyze. It's something to like you say, dust yourself off, go again, learn from it. And it happens at big businesses. They'll make massive mistakes, but they'll pivot, and they'll make a strategic change off the back of it. So I think it's understanding it's a part of your life, but to use it to your advantage.
And there's something about self-talk. What do you think about the self-talk? When we do make those mistakes, or when maybe you try to do a challenge and it doesn't work out because of fear or whatever, what do you suggest to keep that self-talk more positive on the journey to actually doing the challenge or whatever it is in your life?
Yeah, so I mean, I try and kind of summarize it with, like, don't ride the highs too high, don't ride the lows too low. So, when you're feeling, if something's gone well, like, just stay level with it. Try not to, I mean, I really try and sort of live in the moment rather than to overthink. So I like what will be is kind of like my motto on some things, you know. I think now I've kind of gone past that fear of failure.
Right.
I sort of you get to a nice sort of happy place where it's like it doesn't matter, like if that challenge goes wrong, if I do a bad podcast, have a bad day at work, it doesn't matter, because tomorrow's a new day. You get another chance at it. So if you live in that, if you kind of stay present in the moment, then it kind of just allows to kind of remove yourself from that place where you start overthinking, you start to sort of have those negative thoughts about yourself, and it can just let you kind of restart each day.
Right. Yes. And I mean, I just think about how I treat other people. I need to treat myself as well, if not better. You know what I mean? It's like, how would I be upset with my young adult children or my best friend if they had a failure or a learning? I wouldn't put them down. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be your cheerleader now. I'm going to help you get back on track.
Yeah.
And we tend to be harder on ourselves sometimes than is really necessary, and that being hard on yourself actually is like a block.
I agree. And do you know what? I think even the process of talking to other people as well. So my mum always says a problem shared is a problem halved, right? So as soon as you have that kind of you start talking to someone about what you think is a really big deal, and then they have that natural effect, like they want to build you back up, they want to be your cheerleader. So I think often sharing how you're feeling is with other people as well is really a really good way of kind of actually getting a fresh perspective on the problem or how you're feeling, and 9 times out of 10 they'll be trying to help build you up. Not as big a deal as you think, they'll just be there for you.
Now, what did you envision as a young person as far as your career? Did you envision this challenge, or what was your thoughts when you were younger?
I wouldn't have said I thought I'd end up doing what I'm doing today. I mean, I think I was always I think ambitious to be like a good version of myself. So whether that would be playing sport or in the classroom, I always felt like I enjoyed learning about myself, but more than maybe like the subject matter.
Right.
So I think maybe it was probably destined at some point to kind of walk down this path, but maybe I didn't quite predict it when I was in secondary school, but yeah.
Well, I was going to be a famous singer, but now I just sing in my car and maybe the shower, because that's not my talent. But I hear other people and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could sing like you, I would be on the rooftops. They wouldn't be able to shut me up. But I'm singing in a different way. I'm using my voice to interview people and talk. So it's kind of different, but similar. So that's interesting how that happens. Sometimes we're really close to what we think, or like you said, you were really into personal development. My kids, I always helped them with whatever they were interested in. So parents listening in, sometimes our adult, careers, businesses come out of that. I had a daughter that brought home all the children that were having issues. Mom, this kid is cutting. Mom, this kid has an issue with that. And she's studying psychology, and she already works with children. And so then you have another one that loved chess, and he loved, math and chess and computers and taking things apart. And he makes money traveling the world playing chess games and teaching at one of the biggest chess clubs in the United States. And some people thought, well, you can't make money playing chess. Well, you make a lot of money playing chess if you're good. So, another one loved accounting. And so it's just whatever they liked. I was like, okay, that's what you want to do. You do that. And then you can do whatever else you want, and I'll support it. And that made a big difference, I think, for the family. And we did, like I said, we traveled a lot, and there was a lot of stepping out of the comfort zone that changed them.
I was going to say, I think, encouraging encouraging children to take on their passions or try new things is it's building these life skills that will help them go through those processes or a bit of anxiety before trying this new thing, or meeting new people, meeting people of different cultures, all those kind of things. It's only going to help them later in life, and then like you say, the opportunities you just don't know. Like they could end up being the next sporting hero or something like that. You just don't know. So I think it's so important. It was really a big important part of my life when I was growing up. Encouraged to be part of team sports, encouraged to play the guitar, those kind of things. So I think it's a really, really big part of childhood to trying to develop those skills at a young age.
Okay, so how about if you share a couple of your favorite challenges that you did?
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave out free hugs for the day in a city in England. So on Valentine's Day, I had a T-shirt on that said "free hugs," and then just opened my arms and started shouting out "free hugs," which at first got a lot of funny looks, as you can imagine, and that was pre-COVID. So I mean, if I'd have done it in COVID, it might have been worse. Yeah. That was a funny day, but ended up actually having a queue of people waiting to hug me, which was
nice.
which was a funny story.
Wow! Oh, that's fun. Yes.
And other ones, I think one of the ones that's really stayed with me was I slept rough for the night, so kind of played the role of a sort of like a homeless person. So had a cardboard box, a sleeping bag, and it was just on the street corner, which was a real kind of eye opener in terms of just how hard it was for a single night, and people do this for their whole lives. And I was cold. I had pins and needles, and like everything. I couldn't wait to get into bed the next day.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that opportunity the next day. So it was a real kind of eye-opening experience. And again, sort of how you treat other people. So sort of made me just sort of kind of retake on like you help trying to support people that are kind of less fortunate, and being kind to others as well.
Yes. Wow. I almost feel like everybody should try that out because it does make a big difference. When I was a young girl, my mother was living from home to home. She, had some difficult health situations with polio and this and that she contracted. And so with that, we were at one home that was a relative's, and they were so abusive, they were beating her up. And she told me, you need to go. Just go stay with your friends. And for 3 years, I called her every day, but I was really homeless. And I would have to find out where I was going to stay, or stay on a bus bench, or I stayed at like the famous Troubadour on the benches in Hollywood. I would make arrangements and deals with people. And I never had a problem, but it was a different experience. And I got to really connect to the people and learn. And I never thought of it as homeless at 10 to 13 and a half. I thought of it as an adventure. Yeah. And I still called my mother, and I still did school. So it was really weird. And later I realized that was part of maybe a guided journey, like Neil Donald Walsh would have said. It's something that had to happen so that I could connect with all kinds of people. Imagine in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, California. So I had the richest people, the entertainment people, and then the poorest people all together, and just about every culture on the planet you get to run into and learn from. And I just thought it was such an experience. I thought it was this grand adventure. I had no clue that there was anything wrong with it, but I learned so much.
I bet. Yeah. Wow, what a story.
Yeah. It taught me to be very resourceful. And I think your challenges also bring you to a lot of resourcefulness when you're out there, like learning to do these different things that you would never, why would I go do that? I've got a bed. I've got a home, and yet you did. Did you notice that people treated you differently when they thought you were homeless?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just that you kind of get ignored, and I think it's just it's a tricky one, and you know, I can understand in some senses of people wanting to help them in the right ways, and you know, that's not always obvious, but I think that's that lack of kind of sometimes human interaction is probably some of the worst part of it. I think in the fact, you know, sometimes just saying hello to someone or just acknowledging them can make a massive difference to their day. So I think those were kind of one of the big parts that I kind of took away from it. Was I think it's quite easy to headphones in and walk straight past someone, but you know, a simple acknowledgement can probably make someone's day.
Yes, that makes such a difference. And of course, some people may not be safe, so you have to use wisdom. You
Absolutely.
know, if some people are on drugs or whatever out there. There's a lot of young kids, something happened, or different situations that, especially now with this crazy pandemic, where it has been very difficult for people in the U.S. to have housing. And there's people on the side of the road in cars and campers because they couldn't afford to pay. And we haven't really experienced those numbers in my whole lifetime, at least. And so it's difficult to see and to just acknowledge that anybody could be in that situation. That doesn't mean they're bad people, and see how can we work together to help each other. So it makes a difference.
I think I'm not sure if it's the same, but I mean, I was doing some work with some kind of homeless charities here in England, and they were pretty much saying that you're only kind of 5 steps away from being homeless at any time. You know, it only takes 5 things to go wrong, and it could happen to you. So I think it's definitely one that's it's not an easy way. It's not an easy thing to solve, is it? But it's sad to see for sure.
It is, and the nice thing is the awareness. Just from that one night out, it changed your entire awareness. And so that's something I'm like, everybody should be assigned this task of feeling what it's like and having some more compassion. Now, what about a funny one? Was there a challenge that turned out to be really funny, that just made you laugh?
Yeah, let's have a think. So, trying to think now off the top of my head, which one made me laugh the most. I mean, I do think me fainting on week one is a good example. I can't think of anything now off the top of my head. I'm not sure actually. Let me have a think on that one.
Okay, how about let's go to a scary one that you were it just really scared you.
Yeah, so I did firewalking at the time. That scared the life out of me.
Yeah.
There was one actually. So we have a game called cricket here, which is probably a bit like baseball, but the ball is a rock rather than kind of it's a bit harder than a baseball, and one of the challenges was facing a bowler bowling of that at me, which at 90 miles an hour, which is silly fast. So that one was quite scary. That was probably one of the most scary ones. But again, all of these ones, it's almost a bit like once you do it, it's not quite as bad as what you think. I think I had more scary. I'm trying to think. Busking in the street, that was quite scary.
What is that?
Busking. So when you're like home, like when you get like homeless people with the guitar sitting down and you kind of have and people give change to it. So it's just playing music in the street. I don't know what it's called in America.
Oh, okay. Like a street musician, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, how fun. So, because you took your lessons when you were younger, so you were able to play the music. Yeah. And did you make a lot of money that day?
I made a bit, and it all went to the homeless charity. It wasn't. It was. I wouldn't say it was a. I don't have a career out of that for sure.
That's great. That sounds fun. That's another interesting challenge that, if you're not into performing in front of people,
Yeah.
that was something. Definitely.
Yeah,
something.
and I think it was an extra layer of because you got people just walking straight past you, so you almost feel like you're like, am I that bad? Like, is no one stopping or anything? So it's quite an interesting one. Again, one I'd recommend for people to try.
Yes. Now, just to make you feel a little bit better about all that and your results, there was a challenge that happened, and I'll have to look it up and send it to you later, where someone from the symphony, a famous person that plays the violin, people go to Carnegie Hall, and they he's played in front of the presidents here. So a very important, special musician dressed kind of like a homeless person almost, and went and did exactly that somewhere in New York. And people walked by and did not give him hardly any money. And he was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, if people pay, I don't know how much money to go see him in person. Yeah. And because he looked different and was playing just in the street, he didn't get the attention. And they filmed it from afar, so you could hear the music was just incredible. No doubt, all stars, perfect music, and it was that result. So isn't that interesting? So you did really well.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel a bit better, because certainly not of that standard, but
yeah. So I just remembered that whole thing. So there's something to do with perception.
Definitely.
That makes such a difference. Now, have you done anything with, I don't know, jumping out of a plane or something really adrenaline?
Well, it's interesting you say that, actually. So next week, a week today, actually, I'll be strapped onto a plane to do wing walking, which
wow.
So it's literally you're strapped onto the top of the plane and in a seat, and you just fly along with the plane. So I believe it's got the loop planned and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be me next week. So I've had a few moments of nerves about this one. I'm not, heights are one of my big fears. So it'll be a good challenge. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
Well, that is a good challenge. I'll be rooting for you from the ground for sure. Yeah. I'll be tuning in to see that. That sounds incredible, and something that I don't know if I did take flying lessons, but I don't think I'd be able to do that quite yet. Not there yet, but maybe after watching you just
I'll send you the video, and you can assess if it's one for you or not.
That sounds fun. So now, what have you heard from other people that are doing this challenge as far as their experience and life changes for them?
Yeah, I mean, so I feel a lot from what I've heard and the people that I speak to is similar themes in terms of you don't see most people that try to sort of start stepping outside the comfort zone don't tend to regret doing it, and even if it's not gone great, it's kind of like people kind of feel grateful for trying. So I've been speaking to a few people, a few guests, people that are doing challenges, and the overwhelming kind of theme that comes out is to take that step and try something new, and just believe that it won't be as bad as you think in that kind of anticipation stage. So it's been really interesting to talk to other people about it, and even today, so us sharing experiences, it almost, it's one of those nice conversations where it's you're both agreeing, and you both have a sort of similar mindset to it. So it's been fascinating talking to people, and really sort of inspiring in a way to know that that it is something that anyone can do, and it is a great feeling.
Yes, there's something about it with traveling with the Tony group and learning about stepping out of one's comfort zone is really so that it gives you the muscle, the strength to erase the limiting beliefs about what you can't do, and the fear goes away. And usually that fear is what's stopping us from success or whatever we're supposed to be doing in life. That's our, I don't know, mission or guided thing that we're supposed to do here on the planet. That's the stuff that gets in the way. Those beliefs, maybe somebody else told us. Now for me, I had the two plane situations. We spun out on one, another one we had a free fall for a while, and I was so scared to fly for a few years. And then my grandmother always had told me she was terrified of flying. So even I had that voice coming in, and then the two bad experiences, and I was like, I'm done. After I stepped out of my comfort zone, like I said, 7 years traveling full time, where every week at least I was going to a different place. I've been to London many times, and I've been to Dubai, India, all over the world, all over the US, flying, no problem, no fear at all. So it was just erasing that voice.
How was it that first time? What were the feelings that you went through that day?
I literally went to the doctor and got medicine. I don't know, for fear or whatever, and I don't usually take anything, just vitamins, And so I had the bottle with me just in case, because it was like a 5-hour flight from California to Florida. And so I had the bottle with me, and I was so proud of myself because I didn't need to take it. It was like my security blanket, I guess. And I was like, oh, that was silly. I'm so glad I didn't take that drug. I probably would have been so sleepy. I wouldn't be able to enjoy dinner out when I arrived or whatever. So that was it. And then I never needed another security blanket again, really. I just knew I was good. I got this.
They say, to do something 100 times, you've got to do it the first time, right? So it's there's always that first time is something even experts have to do and have to overcome, right? So it's just fascinating.
Wow. Now, so tell me a little bit about your show, your podcast.
Yeah, so it's the Comfort Zone Movement podcast, and essentially it's kind of me interviewing guests from kind of all walks of life about their experiences of moving outside their comfort zone. So we started off with couple of friends from uni. One's a fashion model, and one of the other one's gone on to start a sort of global marketing agency. So kind of telling the stories of how they're stepping outside their comfort zone through their career has helped to bring them both there. They've both got really fascinating stories, and then we've got some other guests lined up. So we got a lady called Michelle who was had a horrendous car accident when she was around 11, but she's done some amazing kind of hiking experiences and things like that. Hasn't been stopped by any of her disabilities, and we've got some great guests lined up. So it's really about learning some of the stories from all walks of life, from challenges to business to your everyday life of people's stories of stepping outside their comfort zone and trying to make it into actionable advice that people can take on.
Yes. Wow. That makes so much sense. And it's really funny because, like, I think of when you said that, I remembered I started doing cryotherapy where you go in this, it used to be the size of maybe like a small square. It was a bigger room, and people, maybe 5 or 6 people can fit in this room at a time. And it was called US Cryotherapy in Northern California. And the first time I was terrified because it's negative, I don't know, 190 or some crazy, it's freezing. It's below freezing. You're there 2 to 3 minutes. And I started going, and the next thing you know, I would go every day. I had a knee injury, and it's supposed to help you heal faster, and I was desperate to heal. And then one day we had a famous group of basketball players that took a big bus, and they came from Southern California up north, and the owner said, Sheila, this group of 4 players, they're terrified. can you take them in to the room? So I didn't know their names because I don't follow sports that well, but they were big, tall guys, and they were terrified. And I was like, we got this. And they saw me, little old me, and they're like, oh, if she can do it, we got this. We don't want to look bad in front of this lady. And we had a good laugh, and it was really fun. So even you think some big, tough guys, they could be afraid of something because they've never done it, and it sounds crazy. I don't know if you've ever done the freezing chamber, the cryotherapy yet.
Yeah, no, I've seen. I haven't been in one, but I have seen them.
New challenge.
Yes. In fact, actually, it's one of my challenges is to do an ice bath in a couple of months' time, which I'm not looking forward to, if I'm honest, to sit in there. But I've heard, I mean, similar, because a lot of sportsmen have to do those, and
Right.
a lot of people do them for kind of like therapies and things like that. So I'm interested to see how that one goes. But it's on the list.
I prefer the cryo chamber to the ice bath. I tried the ice bath once, and I get really cold super fast. I don't know, slow metabolism or something. And so I was like, oh no, this is not my cup of tea at all. But the room wasn't as bad, although it's colder. But the ice bath, I guess it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a mental thing. But for me, I was in and I was like so afraid. I was like, I got to get out because I'm so cold. I'll freeze to death, in my mind. But I drop really fast. Like the other one is they have somebody supervise and they check your temperature so they know when it's not safe. Okay. And for me, I had to get out a minute before the big guys because their fast metabolism, more muscle, whatever, they could stay the 3.5 minutes. I had to get off in 2 minutes or I get too low. So that's why, but so it's something, but some people, I have friends that love the ice bath.
Yeah.
Bless them.
Yeah. I'm like, really happy for them. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, okay, good. I'll be in the warm bath. Yes. So now we're coming to the end of our time. So I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you, watch your challenge, and learn more about all you're doing.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to listen to the podcast, it's the Comfort Zone Movement podcast. On Instagram, it's Comfort Zone Movement, and my website is www.thecomfortzonemovement.com. So if anyone wants to follow any of my channels, watch the story, get involved with the movement, tell me any stories of coming outside your comfort zone, then do get involved.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Tom. It was wonderful having you as a guest. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages. Stay tuned. All right. I have found something magical, something new that I am loving. At this stage in my life, I have been switching to the cleanest, best, healthiest makeup, shampoos, facial products. So I did find an incredible makeup line, and they have been around quite some time. It is called Beauty Counter, and if you go to beautycounter.com/Sheila Mac, SHEILAMAC, or SheilaMac.com, and at the top of the menu, look for Natural Beauty. That will bring you to the site where you can learn about the specials and give clean beauty a try. I am just loving the difference it's making in my face. And one of the things that was really bothering me was a lot of the other products. I could not find eye makeup that wasn't irritating. So this is really like one of the few products I can actually wear around my eyes. And so I'm really loving everything. It makes my skin feel really clean and fresh. And so give it a try. Again, SheilaMac.com/natural beauty to learn more. If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mac Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and I have some news for you. Yes, you. I'm celebrating my 3rd year now on the station and will be expanding the show to a global network as well. You may now find The Sheila Mac Show on all major podcasting channels, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, all the episodes are now available for viewing there as well. And I'm asking you for a quick favor. If you like the show, please help support the spread of this reboot channel on YouTube as well. My goal is to help as many people as possible through our interesting times to rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life. I also wanted to share a little bit more about how I got here, what I do now, and how designing a business career and life on your terms is more than possible at any age or stage in life. I am an enterprisingly forward-thinking consultant, show host, and best-selling author. But how did I get here? Well, I began my career as an entrepreneur and property investment strategist back when I was 23 years young, when I boldly quit my government job with NASA JPL to open my first of 5 large gift stores while also starting to invest in property. I got to work with some of the world's most loved companies, such as negotiations on leases with Warner Brothers and winning trips to London as the top-selling Crabtree and Evelyn provider in the U.S. for multiple years. My stores were built on heart as I gave back to the community I came from. So now, some of you know this and some of you don't know this, but as a young girl with parents who were not well enough to care for me, I was homeless at age 10, then in foster care, where it was really hard to get a job while in the system. I finally emancipated at the age of 15 to start college early. While running my stores, I worked with a government program. Back then, it was called Job Training Partnership Act, making my stores an open source training site where close to 200 at-risk youth started their careers. Yes, I began my career helping business leaders and working professionals to design a life they love where they can have success in their careers and get to the business of life. See, a funny thing happened along the way. When I first opened my gift store, it was kind of crazy because I was this young upstart. That's what a lot of the store owners called me. My first store was in Montrose, California, in this sweet little hometown shopping park with other stores and restaurants nearby. And so I was the young upstart that didn't know what she was doing. At least that's what everybody said. And I didn't really care what they said. At that age, you know, their opinion was like, I don't really care. So that was probably a really good thing because I stayed focused on what I needed to do. And I had negotiated to lease out a 5,000 square foot gift store that needed a lot of work, and I got free rent and for about 6 months, and I had to start making the rent, which was $5,000 a month, which was a lot of money back then, $1 a square foot. And so I had to learn and relearn. I finally did hire quite soon in the game. I did hire a marketing expert, branding expert, I guess back then, and that lady really helped me to figure things out when I first started. And when you first start a business, especially when you're young, it was like I had no idea what to do, but I needed to learn because my rent was going to start coming due every month. And over that time, I started having more success. I did crazy things like stayed open until almost midnight every night, along with the restaurants who were very close to my store, while everybody else closed shop at about 5 or 6 p.m. So I was making more money from the start, and I just really, my store was to help my kids, and the products I sold was whatever the community wanted. I sold lots of things to people in the entertainment industry. I worked with cruise ships. I worked with many different people in the community. And later on, the store owners actually came to me and asked me if I would consult them and help them. I actually started buying my other buildings because I didn't like the idea of paying rent for years and years and years and not building equity. So I did get my real estate license through that and invested and bought my other 4 store buildings. And lots of the other store owners worked with me, paid me to consult and help them do what I was doing. And I didn't really even know it was called consulting. I just knew how to figure it out, I guess. And so that's how I started my career. And now, I raised 6 children, all that, and now they're grown. And so I get to come to work every day and do what I naturally do best as an enterprising and forward-thinking business leader. Through my show, courses, and live events, I guide entrepreneurs and working professionals like you through the profitable steps of building a business, creation to expansion, marketing from planning to implementation, wealth preservation through strategic planning and, yes, real estate investing, and lifestyle design so that you can earn more while getting back to the business of living your best life. So I do invite you to tune in here to KCAA Radio, and also I would really appreciate it if you went to my YouTube channel, Sheila Mac Show, and gave a subscribe and a listen to some of your favorite shows. And I do have some other exciting things, including a free gift to thank you. So if you go to www.sheilamac.com, that's SHEILAMAC, SheilaMac.com, there you can get a free gift to get started on your reboot this year. And now back to the show. Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. Grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, The Formula to Go from Rock Bottom Back into Action in Any Situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com. Tune in again right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
KCAA Loma Linda.